Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to my weekly wrap-up of July 3rd, 2016, wherein, as usual, I tell you about what I read this past week, which was about 5 things, I think. It is a holiday weekend here in the US because Monday is Independence Day and I have been enjoying doing absolutely nothing. It has been very cold and rainy all weekend, which is a perfect excuse to do absolutely nothing, including not getting out in the garden, which I didn't want to do anyway. So books. First, I finished Hild by Nicola Griffith, which I'm not going to talk about here because I filmed a separate review on that. It turns out I had a lot more to say about it than I thought I was going to. I thought the book was okay. It wasn't the most enjoyable read of this week by far. It was too slow, a little bit too detailed for my taste, but thinking about it now, it stirred up some things in me that I wanted to say, so I'm gonna have a separate review on that. I also read The Djinni by Siddartha Mukherjee. I listened to this on audiobook and it was so good. I think this is the first 5-star nonfiction book I may have ever read, or that I've read in years. I enjoyed it that much. It was just a totally solid book. The subtitle of this is An Intimate History, which felt very true. It takes you through the history of genetics from the discovery of the existence of the gene with people like Mendel and Darwin up through the present day, revealing more and more of the inner workings of genetics, chromosomes, our inheritance as the discoveries unfold. I think this book does a really great job of expressing how impactful genetics and scientific discoveries are on our everyday lives, about how it shapes how humanity thinks about itself. Knowing how we inherit properties from our parents, from our ancestors, knowing how this actually works and how to tweak it and adjust it really makes people think differently about themselves, about having children. It was just, I was sitting there thinking about this book for a really long time, about how it has so drastically changed our lives without us ever thinking about it. I've had a love for genetics for a long time. I've astonishingly never read a book about it until now, but I was fascinated by it in high school biology and I always wanted to learn more about it. And this was a really good place to pick up and resume learning about genetics, just historically but also scientifically. It was very easy to grasp and it felt like a very human book. Mukherjee weaves in his own family's genetic history with this. There is a history of schizophrenia and mental illness in his immediate family, so it's on top of his mind too, about how we inherit these gifts and curses from our ancestors. And I just really thought he was sensitive towards people as individuals, as well as appreciative of the almost enormous beauty of genetics, which threatens sometimes to overwhelm us thinking about people's genes, reducing them to their genes rather than seeing them as a whole person. I'm not expressing this very well at all, but I just thought there were many threads of history and science and humanity woven into this, and it was very sensitively done. It hits the right tone while letting you figure some things out for yourself about how you feel about them. So definitely one I recommend. I'm not sure what I want to read next about genetics, but I definitely don't want to drop this subject. I want to keep reading about it, and maybe find something slightly more advanced now that I've had a refresher course on the basics. Night Shift by Charlaine Harris is the third and hopefully final book in the Midnight Texas trilogy. This is set in the same world as Sookie Stackhouse, but is populated by side characters from various other series, including the Lily Bard series. I don't like this series and I did not enjoy this book. It's mediocre. Everything about this series and this book is mediocre. I wrote a review of the second book last summer, which holds true for this book as well, but it's just not good, not terrible. It would be better if it was just terrible and I could legit hate it, but instead it's just so subpar. It barely merits a mention, which is probably the most damning thing I could say about it. The final two things were really enjoyable, and those were my rereads of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. I guess I've committed myself to rereading Harry Potter in July, or July and August, depending on how long it takes me. I haven't reread or read any of the Harry Potter books since the final one came out in 2007, and I haven't really gone back to the Harry Potter universe since the last movie came out in 2011, so it's been a while. Bree from Stories from the Shelf is doing a Harry Potter rereading project in July, and that just kicked me off to do the same thing, because why not? I've been wanting to do it for a while. Mostly what rereading these first two books has confirmed for me is that I was a huge Harry Potter fan when I was a kid. When the books were coming out, I was so excited. I enjoyed them a lot. I have very fond memories of reading the books, but I am not nearly as invested in the books in the world as many other people are. I love them, but I'm not in love with them. I suspect that's because Harry Potter wasn't my first. I was already voraciously reading books before I read Harry Potter. It wasn't my first fantasy series, and it wasn't the first series or book that I read that I really felt captivated by. There are so many other things that I was reading at that time period that I feel much more love and nostalgia for. Things like the Young Wizard series or Madeleine L'Engle books. So I don't know. I think it also doesn't help that I feel almost oppressively like I can't escape Harry Potter. It is omnipresent in pop culture today. I just like it when it feels like a book and a world is done and I can enjoy and comprehend the whole of it in some way. And Harry Potter just won't end. I guess what I'm saying is that I get sick and tired of Harry Potter very quickly, but I really did enjoy rereading these first two books. I think that my enjoyment lies in revisiting the original material, so it's gonna be fun, and I will let you know my thoughts more as I progress through my reread. That's it for me this week. I'm gonna go toddle off, edit some videos, read some books, eat some food, and hang out with my family. And until next time, guys, bye.